This is Never Gallimore from the Dallas Cowboys, and I want to give a major shout out to Mike Tag. Keep bringing the hype to the Cowboys Nation. We love and appreciate it. Now, can you dig it? Let's get it.
What's up, Cowboys Nation?
What is up, man? It's your boy Mike Tag. We are back at it. I don't know if we're gonna be able to, we're still living off the high of yesterday. That was kind of crazy. With my man Kelly K9. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. We got back-to-back nights. I don't know if our next guest is gonna hit us with the crazy eyes or anything like that, but I'm excited nonetheless, man, because this is a man after my own heart, who don't back down from these Philly fans. He gives it to them every chance he gets. When it's time to throw down on Cowboys Twitter and hit them with some knowledge and hit them with some facts. My guy here coming up, Cole's Cowboy, he knows exactly how to break it down and how to give it to these guys and slap them with a dose of reality. So I'm looking forward to getting him in here and talking some Cowboys football.
Oh, we're definitely, and it was funny. I just watched it. You're just reading the stuff today, and he's still going at it. He goes at it, and he's relentless. And that's the thing I love about it. He just keeps throwing it right back in their face. So we're gonna have fun with it. But make sure, I'm bad at this, but if you guys are new to the channel, leave a comment. In the comment, let us know you're new. We're getting new subscribers all the time, and we love it. But make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, helps us out, man. And also, before we get rolling, it looks like we're going to have our first annual Cowboys Cave tailgate party going to be happening when we play the Jets on that Sunday. So that'll be the home opener. We're working everything out. We got Fred gonna be grilling it up. We got Kelly's gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. Shady's gonna be there. Talk to Tuck. He's gonna be stopping by. So we'll have some fun. We might even get Eugene to stop by. What do you think about that?
Hey, man, nothing better than having Mr. Lockhart down there, the hitting machine. We just got to make sure that don't nobody get on his bad side. He's going to be flying around the tailgate just knocking people out left and right. We don't need that.
We'll definitely set it up. But now, like you said, Kelly, we got a great guest. We don't want to waste any more time, man. You guys know him I know him a lot on Twitter, but also on YouTube's got a great, Cowboys channel. We're talking about Cole's Cowboys.
How you doing?
What's happening, man?
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. Hey, this is gonna be a good one right here.
We're looking forward.
Hey, both of y'all, I just have to say, man, I love your hype videos, Mike. Hey, dude, it's crazy. Kelly, bruh. Your Jerry Jones impressions, bro. You sound just like him, man. Hey, it's just an honor coming on y'all show, man. This is gonna be a good one.
Yeah, well, definitely. Everyone should know where you're at. Everyone should know where you find. But just go ahead and knock it out real quick, and that way everyone knows who don't know.
Oh yeah. Hey, Cole's Cowboys on YouTube and Twitter. Hey, you can find me out on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Just chilling. You know what I'm saying? Plucking a few pigeons along the way, but all in good fun, man. All in good fun.
Hey, I had a quick question for you, man. I see you rocking the 88 jersey. Is that a CD Lamb? Is it a Des Bryant?
CD Lamb, man.
CD Lamb, all right. I always gotta ask when I see the 88. I'm like, is it rocking the old school Michael Irvin? Is it the Des Bryant? Yeah. You can't go wrong with any of them.
I ain't go wrong, man. I got his jersey. I was gonna get Amari Cooper. I'm glad I didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dodge a bullet.
Well, I made the mistake of getting the Amari Cooper. I got a signed jersey and got it framed. Yeah. So you don't know. Let me fix my camera a little bit. So I look like I'm taller than everyone, and I know Kelly's a hell of a lot taller than me. So now we're more like it. So no, man, I love your stuff. We're going to get into some Cowboy talk. We're going to get into maybe some free agents. And, of course, the show wouldn't be complete without some Philly talk from you guys, because this is the beauty of our channels. We could talk all the shit we want, and we don't have to hear it back from them. So
exactly.
let's start with, and definitely in the chat, we want to get your opinions on that too. So the second year, usually that second year you see guys make that leap, guys make that jump. So who do you got your eye on? I mean, I'll run through a couple, I'll run through the names real quick. Obviously, Tyler Smith, Jalen Tolbert, Sam Williams, You got Jake Ferguson. You got Hendershot. You got even the lineman that we drafted. Well, let's go. Hopefully I didn't butcher it. Obviously, Bland. I don't know how much better you're going to get. He had a great rookie year. Damon Clark. Even wild cards like Marquise Bell, Malik Davis. His name has been coming up hot, right, with our whole running back situation, and obviously Turpin. So
yeah.
We'll lead with you, Coles. Give me some observations on some of those guys. Who do you see? And when I mean take that leap, I'm talking about getting to that Pro Bowl level or that dominant level even more than last year.
Well, yeah, if we talking Pro Bowl, I would say Sam Williams is definitely a high mark on my list. I feel like he could have been a big impact on the defense last year. He just wasn't, used a lot. He wasn't getting into the rotation as much as he should have. And also, if I want to throw in an offensive player, I'll say Jalen Tolbert. With the game kind of slowing down for him, and we got away from, Kellen Moore's playlist. Maybe he can be, a solid another Michael Gallup. I wouldn't say he'll have a Pro Bowl season.
Yeah.
He'll probably have that Michael Gallup type of season, like second year, third year Gallup. That's something we're looking forward to him. So I had those two guys.
Those are two off the top of your head. Kelly, what are you thinking?
Hey, you know what? He stole my thunder, man, because those I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say, I don't know about Pro Bowl season, but for me, it's encouraging to hear early out of camp, the training OTAs that you got, Tolbert is looking like they're saying that he looks like one of the most improved players. And sometimes you hear Cowboys and they talking, and sometimes it's just lip service, because we heard last year, Simi Fehoko was looking really good. We heard all these things about all these receivers, and none of them really panned out to be all that great. But it's encouraging to hear it early on. Obviously, you want to see that translate into the preseason, get a heavy dose. I want to see Tolbert getting some time in with the ones, get some time in with Dak when Dak's playing. But I mean, Tolbert, in my opinion, should be playing, first, second, and off maybe even in the third quarter. You want to see what you got in this guy. You spent a third-round draft pick on him, so give him some heavy dose in the preseason. But I do like Tolbert to make a jump because, I mean, let's face it, he had 2 catches last year, man. If he gets 4 catches, he doubled his output. So, I mean.
Well, he's along the lines of the guy that everyone touted as this great linebacker. What was his name? Kobe Dean, who went to
right. Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know if he saw the field. What a scrub he turned out to be. I think Tolbert has much more upside, and I agree with that. Yeah,
I think so.
Maybe not the Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl level though. I would lean towards Sam Williams though. I mean, I think he's got the burst. I think he's got the power. Like the dude. That dude comes off the line with some violent intentions, and I love to see it, man. He's one of those guys that's got a little bit of dog in him. Sometimes he kind of reminds me a little bit of Randy Gregory because he's got a little bit of boneheadedness in him. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got to learn kind of when to lay up off the quarterback. I feel like he wants to murder the quarterback even when he gets rid of the ball. And we all know the refs are looking to throw that flag. But as far as a Pro Bowl guy, I would think that. Sam Williams. It's going to be hard for Deron Bland to improve off the year that he had last year. If he could at least duplicate that year, man, I would be thrilled if he can have a year this year like he did last year. Because I mean, he exceeded expectations as a rookie.
Yeah, and looking at, I think Sam Williams to me is a no-brainer too. I think he's the guy. If you're talking about Pro Bowl level, who's going to make that leap?
Yeah,
I think the other one from a Pro Bowl level would be Tyler Smith, and you're seeing them moving him back into guard. Obviously, Tyron had tackled. I think it's not a matter if, it's when. He'll be back at tackle probably. But what's your thoughts on Tyler Smith? And again, he was another one of those players that the media and our own Cowboy fans just kind of bashed when he got drafted. And boy, we were thankful to have him last season. That's for damn sure. And it looks like he's a star in the making on the offensive line.
Right. We should bash most of all our draft picks if they come out to being dogs, man. For real. But yeah, I'm excited about Tyler Smith. He's actually been sharpening up his skills. Like I like the way he does that. Coming off his rookie season, he went down and linked up with I can't even think of his name. You know what I'm talking about. What's his name? The offensive line guy. I forgot. The guru guy. Oh.
For who? For our team?
He worked with offensive linemen in Dallas.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I don't know.
Dudes or something. He been working. You know what I'm talking about, dudes?
Colombo?
Huh?
Was it Mark Colombo?
No. Well, we'll just say he's just been working with people that's specializes in offensive line. He's been going through
Yeah.
his camps. He actually linked up with Von Miller with the edge rushers just to sharpen up his skills against some of the greatest edge rushers in this league. So I like that, man. You know what I'm saying? He wants to get better. This year 2 for him. I see him being like elite 11.
Yeah.
You know
No, I agree. Kelly, what's your thoughts on Tyler, man?
I think I like Tyler Smith, man. And as far as when I had this last year, I said it when they drafted Tyler Smith, man. I came out and said, look, when it comes to the Cowboys drafting offensive linemen, man, I'm never questioning them in the first round. Not going to question it, man. I mean, they've got a proven track record. The Cowboys, they draft offensive linemen in the first round. They seem to know what the hell they're doing, right? So, I was one of them guys that was like, look, I'm not gonna bash the guy. I didn't really know a whole bunch about him. I remember hearing that he had a propensity to hold. He had a lot of holding calls in college, so they were like, hey, we're just adding another guy. Because I remember, they were talking about, hey, we just got rid of some guys that were bad at holding, getting a lot of holding calls, bringing in a guy that holds, right? We didn't. I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know he wasn't called for holding a bunch of times last year. I mean, he wasn't over penalized. He played a pretty clean game, and also, he was practicing primarily at left guard. And then when Tyron Smith went down, they moved him over with really minimal to any reps at all over that left tackle position. And he held his own all year. He wasn't at a Pro Bowl level, but he played well, very well for a rookie. And I think that whether he's at left tackle or left guard this year, I think he's going to play well. And, obviously I'm not counting on Tyron Smith, but I think Tyler Smith is going to be the next great Smith on this offensive line. So
yes.
No, I agree. So sticking on offense. So this one is, again, it's probably we're not a second year leap's not going to be a big calling for him, but I think if you talk about maybe an importance to the team, if we're going in with the running back group that we have now, do you see Malik Davis needing to play a bigger role and going to play a bigger role with more of that physical kind of running back? And I don't mean to dismiss Jones. I'm still just not sold on him. That's just my own personal opinion. And I hope I'm proven wrong. But I'm just that back that can grind it out. I just don't know if we have that unless it's Malik Davis.
Yeah, I mean, we have been shutting down Jones a lot. I still want. I'm not going to shut the door on him, but Malik Davis, I believe that he should have been. He should have been having more of a chance last year, especially when when it came to that 49ers game. Like he should have been an impact then. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to put on tape this year. Doing training camp, because right now this running back competition is going to be kind of strong. You know what I'm saying? They need to figure out either running back rooms or tight end rooms who's going to go, because they're going to make a way for Hunter Luepke to make the team, because I believe you can't let a guy like that go. So it's either the tight ends or the running back room. It's very tight right now. So running back's going to be a big competition. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Malik Davis can do, if he can probably outshine Ronald Jones.
Yeah, and I think that I think what the Cowboys are, they got their guys right now that they feel comfortable with, and they're gonna roll with that. It looks like early on, unless they decide to blindside us and make a move for one of them. But if you look at the free agent market right now for running backs, there's a lot of them out there, and nobody's really rushing to sign any of them. There's not even really, Dalvin Cook's been out there now going on about a week, and there's not really anybody that's reaching out to try to get him because, just because of the money situation. A lot of people are just like, hey, man, we're set. This guy wants, he's wanting this kind of contract. We ain't giving that to a running back. So I think the Cowboys will be all right. And, probably what they're going to do, have themselves a running back competition. If it starts looking like early on in training camp, like, hey, man, our running back is not looking great right now. They can go out and they can sign themselves one of many other running backs that are out there, because there's a lot of guys out there. May not be guys that can come in and be a bell cow running back, but guys that can come in and be that complementary running back to Tony Pollard. Because the thing is, we don't need a bell cow running back. Nobody's really got him anymore. Need to have multiple guys that can run that ball, and Malik Davis is gonna get a shot. So So we'll see.
Well, you got the young legs, and talking about the running backs, just we can kind of pivot just a little bit on the free agents since that was our other thing. So you're looking at Robinson and Cook, and you've got Zeke out there. I know Zeke is taking some heat, and probably that's not going to happen. But it looks like the running backs, they're getting devalued. They're getting devalued, and it's just like Ian Beckles kind of said, is hey, there's really only 2 running backs. The rest are a bunch of guys in this league. I don't know if I agree with it, but I mean, I can't argue with him a little, on that either. So, are you just kind of seeing it where maybe the thought process is they're going to run Pollard in almost like a DeMarco Murray season and just gonna just wear him down and let him go and move on next year?
I wouldn't say that they'll do that. I think what they'll do is stick to running back by committee. That's the best way to do it. They probably might take a lot of touches from him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, there's still politics, and they don't want to pay him, so they'll probably go ahead and be like, okay, we're going to go ahead and give Pollard these numbers. Oh, he's doing too much. Let's get the other guy in and get him some touches. That's how most of these teams do. Philadelphia did it with Miles Sanders. You know what I'm saying? They went ahead and had other guys go because they did not want him to be like, oh, he had this career record-breaking season, so you got to pay him. No, they made sure they didn't do that, and they was like, okay, we're going to share the ball with everybody. That's how it's supposed to be, man. Fresh legs. He's just now getting off of a bad injury. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to – and that's what we did to Zeke. We ran him in the ground. You know what I'm saying? So to prevent the same mistake, we'll just stick with running back by committee.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think Deuce I think Deuce Vaughn is one of those guys that can make a difference. I mean, you're going to give him some touches. He's not going to be the guy that's going to carry the ball 20 times. That's where I guess my concern with the running game, not to just keep preaching on it, but if we're up in the fourth quarter and we got to have a 12-play drive and we need the running back to grind it out, do we have the guy that can do it? I think Pollard can, but I don't know if he's built to do it consistently, and especially if you're giving them carries the first 3 quarters and then now it's time to grind it out. I mean, getting him 25, 22 plus carries, I just don't know if that'll be a recipe. And I hear Lukey, and I hear the fullback, and I hope everyone's right, but you just think of what you have. So who do you got? You got obviously Pollard, you got Vaughn, you got Jones, you got Davis. You throw him in there, that's 5. I don't think they're keeping 5 running backs. And then you got 4 tight ends. So there's going to be some guys that are going to be on the outside looking in, and it's going to be interesting to see how they do this training camp.
Yeah, they definitely going to keep Lukey in the mix. That's one guy they want to keep.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know, man. It's what's going to be interesting is watching this new, how different this Cowboys offense is going to look this year. Because you hear Mike McCarthy talking about that they want to run the ball more. I'll be curious to see if that's really what they do. I'll be curious to see at the end of the year if they run the ball more this year than they did last year. Just because. Like you said, I don't know what that personnel is going to look like. Don't know what it look like on the field. So we'll have to see, man. Is it going to be one of those things where if they can run the ball well with the group that they have, then maybe. But if not, they may have to get creative in how they move that ball when they're trying to make one of those 12-play drives. Because I mean, honestly, if you look at a team. Bob, I keep saying this and I keep pointing back to if Mike McCarthy starts leaning towards a little bit more of that kind of like West Coast style type offense that Shanahan runs out in San Francisco, they don't really run the ball out when they need it. They run theirs off, off these little quick plays and they get the ball out quick. And it's basically the same as a run, mix in a little bit of RPO type stuff in there. And they get very creative with it. But it also it makes it very hard for the defense to stop that because you've got so many different things you can pull out of your arsenal. And I think this Cowboys offense has those kind of weapons. I mean, when you talk about a guy like Deuce Vaughn that's going to be a versatile guy that can catch the ball very well, you've got Pollard that can catch. We got Lupke, who's just a very athletically gifted guy. Then with the tight end group that we got, bringing in Schoonmaker, excited to see what he's going to do. I mean, they've got weapons, man. They add Cooks to this thing who could take it down. Now gives us that over the top, go deep threat. Cowboys are going to have options on offense, man. And it's going to be exciting to see how Mike McCarthy and, Schottenheimer use all these toys that they got because, I've been saying for years that I thought that Kellen Moore was good moving it between the 20s, and yes, we scored a lot. We scored a lot of points up, but it was in those crucial situations that he just didn't seem to know how to use that Swiss Army knife that he had in his pocket all the time. So we'll see, man. I'm optimistic though. So
Yeah. And Coles, what we had a comment about Dak running the ball a little bit more. I mean, do you see? I know Kelly, you tweeted some about that either yesterday or day before. I mean, do you? I think that Dak should run smart. I mean,
yes.
it frustrates me when I go to a game and I see him sitting back, and then there's 5 yards to be taken for a first down, and he just wants to be that pocket passer, and he's waiting. I just wish he'd just go slide, get it down, and move on to give you 4 fresh downs. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on Dak? Maybe using them legs a little bit more.
Yeah, that's part of Dak's game. I'm a Mississippi State fan, so I've seen him. Front and center how he ran the ball. He ran the ball a lot, and he needs to get back to that. But he does, like I said, like you said, he needs to be smart with it. You know what I'm saying? Slide down when you have to. Go out, get out of bounds. Don't take the hits. You know what I'm saying? He's been with how many years it's been since he had that accident? Like 2 years?
2?
Yeah. Almost 3.
Yeah, almost third.
It's time. It's time to run. You got to use your legs because pocket passers, it's not going to last in this league. It's not. Yeah. It's time to. You need to be a threat because defenses are smarter now. And right now, you see how our defense is. But we wish on a pocket passer because we know our guy's going to eat. It's the same with every other team. Every other team is, fixing their team to, handle quarterbacks that, run. So just imagine having a quarterback that's sticking in the pocket. It's easier for them. So, yeah, hopefully they will dial up some good RPOs, some read options, something like that to keep the defense guessing because Dak is very athletic and he's strong. You know what I'm saying? So he'll be able to run.
Yep. Yeah, and the thing is, what I was saying when I made that tweet, I had a bunch of people going, man, Dak can't do this, Dak can't run. Don't we need a running quarterback? I didn't say nothing about needing a running quarterback. We just need a few plays a game because I mean he's a mobile quarterback. He's a mobile quarterback. The guy can move, and I mean, you don't think about you don't really think about Mahomes as being a very mobile quarterback. When that dude runs, man, I mean. No, I take this wrong way. I'm a Mahomes guy, like Texas Tech, man. But he looks like one of my fat cousins running to the cooler to get another Twinkie, man. I mean, he ain't moving very fast, but he's effective with it. You know what I'm saying? So Dak can move though. Dak can get it done, and he can run. And we don't need him running all the time. But like Mike said, when that play opens up in the middle of the field's wide open, and you're sitting there going, why don't he run the ball? Like, you need 4 yards, man. Like he could get 10 yards and then slide and take no contact or, go out of bounds, run smart. But I think Dak, I mean, you saw it in that Tampa Bay game. That was not the one that I posted, but the Tampa Bay game, he had that little fake out with a whole defense bit on the the play action to the running back. He bootlegs it out to the left, runs it in for an easy touchdown.
Yes.
Man, that is something you can pull out of your hat and have that work more often than not, because especially if you're running the ball well, that defense is going to bite in on that run. Dak rolls it out, and I guarantee you that's there a lot more often than not for Dak. Yeah. So that's what I'd love to see, man, is us get a little bit more creative with Dak because it gives the defense one more thing they got to worry about.
Exactly.
So,
no, absolutely, man. We got they're going to get this worked out. Now I've always been a McCarthy supporter. Coles, where are you standing with that? I never liked Kellen Moore here when McCarthy came in. The whole Garrett thing. You got a clean house, and especially McCarthy being brought in as an offensive guy. Never liked it. Never believed that he wanted it. So now it's his ship. So, I mean, how are you feeling about McCarthy kind of taking control of this offense? And we know we got Schottenheimer, but at the end of the day, we know McCarthy's going to be one calling the shots.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm Team McCarthy, man. I was pissed off year one because he brought in Mike Nolan. You know what I'm saying? That pissed me off.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you knew the dude was – you knew he was trash, man.
And I will say, I don't call Mike Nolan too much. I mean, we have to understand when he got – that was a COVID year.
Yeah.
No training camp. They didn't know.
Out,
and I think where Nolan made a mistake is he tried to make things too complicated. And I think at that point, you just got to kind of stay with what they have and keep it basic. But I agree with you. It wasn't the best hire. Yeah.
That made me kind of skeptical, but I became a bigger fan whenever he started changing the chemistry with the team, the environment. You know what I'm saying? He even has Jerry Jones doing something he hasn't done forever, and that's giving him yeah, exactly. Hey, he giving them the power though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like not even Bill Parcells was able to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm rooting for him, man. He won a Super Bowl, and everybody want to say, hey, he had Aaron Rodgers. Well, but this is what I tell him. Aaron Rodgers was not an MVP, and he didn't win a Super Bowl before he was with Mike McCarthy. They did it together, and they haven't done it without each other. So you know what I'm saying? You gotta give the guy respect. He coached up Aaron Rodgers to make him to the man that he is right now. So
yeah. And people forget in that season, I mean, they were in a playoff mode for the last 4 weeks. So
yeah.
I mean, you had to be on your game coaching and the players and everything else. And so yeah, I'm with you. I think McCarthy, Kelly, I think we talked about it.
I'm Team McCarthy myself, man. My biggest thing that I've seen over the past couple of years is when Garrett left, and in McCarthy's first year, and even some into his second year, but you started to see it get cleaned up second half of the second year, and then a lot last year was the penalties. We were a very penalized team. We did not play clean football, and I thought, damn, man, this is like the same shit we saw when Garrett was there, and it's just kind of been that way for a while. We just didn't play disciplined football. But, towards the second half, well, really most of last year, but a lot towards they played clean. I mean, they were not you didn't look at that playoff game against the Niners and go, God damn, man, it was penalties again, because, a lot of times we're sitting there, we're shooting ourselves in the foot with all these penalties. And that's one of the things that I think McCarthy has cleaned up. He's got a more disciplined team. It's a more structured team. And I definitely like seeing that, when it comes to McCarthy. So, yeah, I'm a believer in McCarthy. And for all those people that sit there and say, hey, Aaron Rodgers won that Super Bowl for Mike McCarthy, I would just point out that Aaron Rodgers didn't win a damn Super Bowl after McCarthy left. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? And Aaron Rodgers' career is on the downside here. He's on his way out. Who knows how many more years he got. McCarthy's still coaching, man. So we'll see what happens, man. It's on you, Big Mike. Go on, win that Super Bowl and show everybody that it was you.
Well, and the thing is now, he's either gonna hoist it up or he's gonna go down with the ship. Is however way he looks at it. But it's going to be interesting. And it's like I said, I think this team is better than they were last season. The record may not show it. I mean, the record, maybe they dropped to 11 wins just because of the schedule. Maybe it's 10, 11 wins just because I think the schedule that they have. And if you kind of look at some of those games back to back, someone asked me if I was going to Buffalo. Hey, never going to Buffalo in summer, my friend. That ain't happening. So, but it's gonna be a fun year. And while we're in the middle, so you get new people coming in.
Yeah.
Kelly and I announced that we got the first annual tailgate party happening at AT&T, so we're gonna have a good time. And Fred has already said he's got the chef's hat. He's bringing. He's gonna be cooking it up. We're gonna be getting some good stuff. So make sure if you guys are going to the Jets, home opener for the Cowboys, seeing us finally put old Rodgers out to pasture. Maybe he'll be done after that game. You guys make sure you hook up with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. But talking about maybe a concern. So we're always so positive. I know Coles he rivals myself as the most positive Cowboys fan on social media, where Kelly Kelly will get real sometimes, especially after a loss. We got to I call him up and pump him up a little bit, and then he builds back up where he needs to be. But what area, what level of the defense or offense, what part has you, if you're going to say, man, I'm a little concerned, what's that position group that you would say?
Yeah, the offensive line. The offensive line is a little concern for me, only because injuries. Don't know about Terrence Steele. Hopefully, Fournier can step in. We know Tyron Smith gonna be hurt. I used to be like Tyron Smith might be all right. Now, no, Tyron Smith is going to miss a couple of games. So I just want to see. And then we're dealing with a new offensive line coach, so hopefully he can hold it down better than the previous coach was.
Yeah.
So that's really my only concern. Is offensive line.
How about you, Kelly?
Same for me, man. Me and Coles is on the same page. I've been talking about that for a while. Mike, I've been saying that offensive line is my area, just because I don't really know what this offensive line is going to look like. I know that Tyron Smith is. We all know he's going to go down. It's an inevitability. But what are they going to do when he does? Are they sliding Tyler Smith back over to left tackle and then putting somebody in at left guard? And if so, who's that going to be? I keep hearing a lot about, Willetsko, but I haven't seen him play, and I don't, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and bank on a guy who hasn't really played at all to be the guy that steps in and just makes this line cohesive. But outside of that, I just feel like we don't really have a lot of depth. There's a lot of there's a lot of guys. I'm just kind of looking over the some of these free agent offensive linemen. There's some guys out there. There's some guys that they could definitely add for some depth. There's some guys they could look into if they don't like what they have going in the preseason. But I mean, none of those guys are jumping out like, well, that's a guy that's going to be a cornerstone piece, because all these guys that are out there are just guys,
Yeah.
So the offensive line scares me just because, if you got a bad offensive line, man, then I mean, it's going to make it harder on Dak. It's going to make it harder on these running backs who we already are kind of a little worried about, like who's going to be. It just makes everything more difficult. So the one thing that I hope we can do is stay fairly healthy along that offensive line, avoid any major injuries. Man, I mean, I get down and I pray every night, man, for the good Lord to let Tyron Smith play a full 17 games, man. I say, could you just let him do it just one? Just imagine if we could get a full 17 games at a time.
That'd be wild, man. If he plays a full 17, that's a sign, man. I'm like, there's a chance, man.
Yes.
I don't know if McCarthy's ever had the starting 5 offensive linemen in his time here. It seems like. I think to your point, when you get, the depth is the concern. I think, hey, man, if they all stayed healthy, which we know is not going to happen, but let's say something by miracle, that's a pretty damn good offensive line we got.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
We know what's going to happen. You don't know how Steele, to Cole's point, you don't know how he's going to come back. Tyron, it's not a matter if, it's when. And I think like last season, it happened in training. It was probably a blessing in disguise, because it just seemed like he came back, guy got hurt, another guy came back. And I don't know if you can live that way. I don't know if that's a recipe for success. So I think there's someone's going to have to step up. You talk about a second-year guy stepping up. Maybe it's Willetsko. If someone's going to have to step on that offensive line, it better not be Ball. I don't know. Hopefully he's not.
God, no.
But if I see them strolling him out of tackle, we're going to be in trouble. I know they're trying to put him at guard, but it'll be interesting to see. But Mark in the chat, and I feel good about this. So I'm thinking maybe we can build Mark up a little bit. He said even though we got Mozzie, he's still concerned with that middle of the defense. And I just, with Hankins and Mozzie, and you got Osa, all them guys, and hopefully Gallimore stays. I hate to redo the intro, it'll break my heart, but I think we got some beef there, and I think we're much better than we were in the past. We've got bullied so many times up the middle. I mean, we'll start with you, Coles, being the guest. What's your feeling? Can you ease his pain, or is that a spot that you're still a little iffy on?
As far as the defensive line?
Defensive tackle. I think we're fine on the edge. His concern is up the gut.
It's a lot of guys that got to step up. I have a lot. I got a good feeling about Mozzie and Hankins, but Gallimore got to step up, man. This is a year that he has to bring it. Also, Chauncey Golston.
Yeah, I think he's a wild card for him, right?
Yeah. Yes. This is an important year for him too, because they could cut him. So it's gonna be a big competition in DT. Hopefully they can step up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm not super. I mean, obviously it's been an issue. It was a bit of a problem. It's been problematic for the Cowboys, but I mean, the fact that they getting a young guy like Mozzie in here, and I mean, you just seen Dan Quinn, how excited he was to be able to work with this kid. I just get a feeling that Quinn is going to be very hands-on with this guy, and I feel like he is going to have him ready to play. And, with the way that the Cowboys' first-round draft picks have went the last several years, like, I'm almost expecting him to have like a season that surprises a lot of people. Like all these people that were saying, it was a reach, and because it never fails, man. Everybody bashes our first round draft pick, and then dudes come out and ball out. So I'm almost to the point where I'm expecting him to have a season where he's like, in the maybe even in the conversation for defensive rookie of the year, man, honestly, and which would be hard for defensive tackle. But I mean, if this dude big muscling people around, I mean, I'll take it, man. And we'll see. I'll roll the dice with it, man. I like what we got there. Look, the kid's a freak, man.
Strong.
Athletically, he's a freak. He can. I mean, we're benching. I think, what did we talk about? He benched like 23 reps, and mostly at the combine they're doing what was it, 225? And he was doing what did I say he was doing? He was doing like 325. He did like 23 reps to 325. That's insane, man. Like that's freakish strength. That's like Larry Allen type strength, throwing up that kind of weight. So I'm excited to see him on the field.
Yeah. I think he's gonna bring some nasty, and I think obviously Hankins. So I feel good with the defensive tackle, and I'm coming from a guy who's just was just sick of seeing our defense up the middle just absolutely gashed in so many times. So I think they fixed that. I think Quinn's got his guys. You see, he's hyped up for it, and I think we're gonna be solid there. There's a spot that if we were a little concerning for me is, and I got to take Parsons out of the mix because. I don't. It's hard for me to consider him a linebacker. The linebacker group, obviously got LVE. He played solid, but obviously had some injury history. But he played very well last year. Clark came on good. Jabril Cox seems to be. Now I'm hearing he's like a bubble guy. And I thought those early things you saw him. It's like, man, this guy's side to side speed and this and that. He's great. Overshown. Darren Woodson was on Teague's podcast and. And Teague asked him, what does he need to do? He needs to eat because he's other guys. So what's your thoughts of the linebacker group taking Parsons out because he's the pass rusher?
I don't view him as the linebacker.
Right.
I'm hyping up Jabril Cox. I was hoping, I'm hoping he can have a good season. But I'm very sold on Clark. Clark is that. You gotta think the dude just came from a crazy injury, and he was a good impact for your linebacker half of the season. So I'm looking forward to seeing a full off season training and all that stuff with him. So I'm hyped, but Overshown, he needs to eat a couple of patty meals, man. He needs to eat up more.
I was laughing because someone said Eugene Lockhart, and I damn well tell you that the energy on that show last night. Right.
The hidden machine, man.
I had somebody tell me we need to bring Jalen Smith back.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Man, that's like saying we need to bring back Chaz Green on the offensive line.
I was like, nah, man, we good.
Yeah, no, we way good, man. We way good. Now, I like the linebacker spot, man, because I think we got a lot of young talent out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's a lot of people that haven't got a chance to really get out there and prove themselves. I'm not ready to give up on Jabril Cox because I ain't really seen that he didn't really get a lot of opportunities. I mean, he wasn't on the field much last year. And I don't think necessarily that it was because he's a slouch. I just think that the linebacking crew that we had out there was doing a good enough job. They didn't really need to rotate out guys. But I mean, this year, when you're talking about moving a guy like Parsons and having him play with his hand down in the dirt a little bit more than at that linebacker spot, so then that's going to have you kind of bring another guy in. But yeah, I'm excited about Damone Clark. The injury that he had was like Cole said, was a bad one. So anytime you have an injury like that, it's difficult coming back. But even more when you new to the scene. I mean, he was, he's a young guy, ain't been in the NFL, but a minute still. So yeah, man, I'm liking this linebacker room. Overshown, I guarantee the Cowboys strength staff, they're out there, they're getting him fed, plenty of good food down in Texas to eat on. So I think he'll beef up, man. But I like our linebacker crew. I think it's actually going to be pretty good. And and then you can also we got a guy, man, that plays that safety hybrid linebacker role with Jaron Kearse, who can come down and play that role. So we got another guy that we can add into the mix. So
LVE,
I'm liking that.
LVE had a good season last year.
He did.
He get a lot of slack, but I believe he'll have a good season. I believe he'll be okay.
Who was a linebacker we got late? Harper.
Yeah,
is he? Yeah. I mean, do you know much? Has there been anything? I know he had like an injury or something, but
I haven't heard anything much about him.
All right. I don't know much about LSU, but they always have a good defense. But I know they got him late in the draft, and he wasn't going to play. They said, they knew the injuries, so it'll be interesting. So, what else with the Cowboys? What am I missing on these Cowboys, Kelly? Anything else we need to cover before we have some?
Nah, no. I just I saw somebody in the chat and they was talking about Kelvin Joseph. They said Kelvin's more worried about raps than reps. I saw that tweet where Kelvin Joseph, where they tweeted out how the Cowboys secondary was fire, and they listed all these names, and Kelvin Joseph wasn't on there, and he goes, "Don't forget me," and he posted this little working out little emoji or whatever. And I thought to myself, man, this dude out here. I remember last year, and it was after a game, and I had seen him play, and I said, "It's not boss man fat, it's burnt man toast." Because that son of a bitch, I said, I don't want to see him on the field no more, man. I'm sorry, man. I can't do it with that dude, man. So
he just broke out he just had with a music video come out.
Man. Like he's
the wrong time to do that right now. Man.
No, yeah, exactly. He got 1 foot in the studio and 1 foot on the NFL field. Like you can't do that
right now. You know?
Yeah, nope.
And my son, I've always said he's a Kelvin Joseph. When they drafted him, he was so hyped up, and just this last year, he asked without me knowing, because if his grandmother would have said something to me, I would have said, "Bad move, don't do it." He must have asked her for a Kelvin Joseph jersey. So she got him a custom Kelvin Joseph jersey. So I don't know what the hell's going to happen to it. But I made the fatal mistake of buying a Jalen Smith jersey on sale. I should have known better when it was on sale that something was up. And then he had the worst season that he could ever have. So I've been victim of that too. So, but Kelvin Joseph, I got to think's worse.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? Sometimes you got to take advantage of them sale jerseys and they work out, because I'll tell you what, 2 years ago, I bought me an LVE jersey that was on sale for like $50. And I said, man, that's a bargain right there. So I went ahead and scooped it up, and I bust that sucker out, and I was wearing it with pride last couple of years, because LVE, he played a solid season last year, and second half of the year before, in 2021, second half of that season, he came on pretty strong. So I could wear that jersey with pride right now, throw it on, and not have to worry about, at least it's not Jalen Smith. I
gave the Jalen up, but I made the fatal mistake one time. I bought, I had Antonio Bryant, the forgotten 88.
Oh, man.
He was good with that. I mean, he was good with that. He actually was good with the Bucs, and he had that year in San Francisco. So I made the mistake and threw the jersey away. And then a few years later, we got Des Bryant. So I would have had a Bryant. It was 88. I would have saved myself $80 or something. And it was a silver, it was like an all silver jersey. It was a cool jersey. So I made that mistake of throwing away. So I'm not throwing away the Jalen Smith, because Smith's a very common name. Might get lucky and someone wants to be 54. It might get there. Mozzie took 50? What is he, 56? So I was close.
Yeah, you were close, man. I was just thinking, I was like, what number is Mozzie Smith? Yeah, he's 56.
I'm gonna give him a call and see.
Chasing number.
Take my $50 that I spent good.
Hey, they're the jersey numbers changing and stuff like that's the other thing that I'm not really a big fan of, man. When it's like guys can change jerseys now, and they're changing like, hey, I want to be, because so they started letting defensive players wear those lower numbered jerseys, and now you're sitting there, you're like, man, I just got me this jersey, and now they changed the numbers on them. And if Zeke comes back, people talking about Zeke maybe coming back, he ain't gonna be 21 no more. That's Stephon Gilmore, so
he gonna be 15, and that's gonna be that jersey was sale.
Yeah, all them Ohio State fans gonna come out of the woodwork getting that bad.
Oh my God! If he got 15, yeah. And I've always, Mark's never owned a jersey. I don't know, man. I just love, and I just wear them on Sunday. I don't run around, the neighborhood wearing a jersey. They're hot, but I just love wearing it on game day, man. Even if I'm at home in my Cowboys cave, I put the jersey on. Do you guys treat you like a game? You're rocking the 88 Coles. I mean, so you're rocking it at home or at the stadium, wherever you go. That's how you do game day.
Yep. I had mine. My little girl, she got a Parsons. You know what I'm saying? Got my newborn. He got his onesie. He got the Dak onesie. So we good. You know what I'm saying? We rolling in.
Yeah,
Kelly, you do the same?
I do the same. I wear my jersey on game days. I got a lot of the Cowboys t-shirts and hoodies and gear. I'm decked out in Cowboys gear all the time, honestly, whether it's game, whether it's NFL seasons going on or not, I'm always representing the Cowboys just because I feel like I got too many nice hats that I got to showcase to people. I'm like, man, I gotta bring these out. But I love Cowboys. Yeah, and you know what? Let me tell you, Mark. The reason Mark ain't never on the Cowboys jersey. I know Mark got to meet him last year, and I've known him for a couple years on Twitter, but that man's so cheap that when he gets his bill, he look to see if they charge him extra for some ice. That's how cheap that motherfucker is. That's why Mark ain't never got no damn jersey.
Whoa. I got to defend my man Mark because he's allowing me to store a tent, some chairs, some stuff in his garage free of charge. And
he's kind. Oh, he's a great guy, man. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. But I promise you, when the bill comes, he's gonna look to see, did they charge me extra for some ice? That's how cheap that man would be. He's tight. He's tight.
He's tight.
He's tight with that money.
So now
Mark's a good guy.
Now we got 20 minutes left or so. Unless we get this may run a little long, but getting the opportunity to have two social media giants on the show that absolutely annihilate Philly fans, I enjoy it. And I always say I've been to a bunch of Philly Dallas games. I've never walked out disappointed. I'm going to the game this year. Ain't planning on walking out disappointed this time either. And so we're going to I wanted to build it up. So I got to make sure I got this right. So we're going to start with something Eugene Lockhart said, because Kelly or one of us asked him, what did you think about the Philly? Did you guys consider them a rival, or how did you take their team? And this is what he had to say.
And usually during the off season, when they bring the schedule out, we would chalk it up as a W.
So that was one of those old school, whenever we get that schedule out, you kind of went WL. So these players, that's what they thought of Philly in his era. Let's go back. We had Barry Switzer, coach of the Cowboys. And this is what he had to say, and then we're going to get into it.
When I go on Philadelphia radio, they always bring up that game, and they'd laugh about, talk about. I let them go on. You know what I hide in the conversation?
Huh.
I said, I got a question I want to ask y'all. I said, who won the Super Bowl here?
Well,
that makes that irrelevant, doesn't it?
Well, absolutely. And so we were able to, we always try to talk rivalry. And it's interesting because when you talk Cowboys and you talk to players, they never really look at Philly as the main rival. It always goes back to Washington, sometimes the Giants, but Philly's never that. But Philly, their fans just want to be, it's like that little brother that you got, and he's tugging at you, say, hey, it's me, I'm relevant too. And they get so upset that the Cowboy fans don't really look at them as a rival. And I see you guys fighting with guys on Twitter, and all they want is your respect, and you don't give it any. You don't give them any. And I'm saying, have you ever thought, maybe I'm going to be a good guy today? I'm going to give them what they want. I want to make them sleep well at night. I'm going to give them a little bit of respect. What's your thought? Coles, you're the guest, and then we'll jump to Kelly. What's your thoughts on that?
The first thing you don't do is give them respect, because they will never give you the respect back. That's who they are. You can say, hey, good game, and they will rub it all in your face. They don't have no type of, sportsmanship standards. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I have to be so hard on them. I got to keep my foot on their neck every single day, because they'll never return that favor back to you. You know what I'm saying? So Philadelphia, the fans are special, man. I could go on my way chilling, and I can say, man, Dak Prescott going to have a great season. You know what I'm saying? I can tweet that one thing, and I have like 10, 15 Jalen Hurts profile pics coming at me. Some come in my DMs and say Dallas sucks. So, I don't understand, man. What you think?
What do you think, Kelly?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've never had a fan base like cry as much as the Eagles do about validation. Right? When they won the NFC East, I literally had Eagles fans telling me, they were like, I said, what do you want from me? You won the NFC East. Congrats on that, right? But you win the Super Bowl and then come back and talk to me, right? What do you expect me to do? They're like, we want validation from us. I said, why the fuck you want validation from me? I'm a Cowboys fan. I can't stand you cockroaches. What do you think I'm gonna validate you for? Like, what do you want my validation for? And this guy over here, I see a guy, we got an Eagles fan here in the chat, and he's
Yeah,
talking
that's
about
that's ultra disguise.
yeah, it probably is. He talking about how Hurts played in the Super Bowl. Well, I got news for you. So did fucking Rex Grossman. How'd that work out? Did either one of them win? Did either one of them win? No, they didn't goddamn win. So get the hell out of here with that shit and your participation.
Well, that's the funniest thing. I didn't mean to cut you off, Kelly, but I just asking both you guys because you both. I mean, all of us. I don't know how you guys. I've rarely watched when I want Cowboys content. You know, I'm going to Coles, I'm going to Tuck, I'm going to Law, I'm going to West Coast, I'm going to Knicks, I'm going to so many of these guys that do content because they bring it. Fan. Yeah. I'm gonna forget someone, so I better stop. I don't want to offend anybody, but always bring good content. Yeah. I've never once, and I swear to God, I've never done it. I've never once said I'm going to go on a an Eagles show and just listen and just sit there and put little chats in.
Yeah.
I got better things to do. Now, do you guys do that? Maybe I'm wrong. Is that something you guys ever do? Unless you're talking to a guest and you're a guest on the Philly show. I know you kind of interact with some guys there. I mean, is that something you've ever done, Coles? If you just said, I'm just going to go on a Phillies podcast and just listen and kind of chat just for the hell of it?
Yeah. I joined in. The content creators, they're you know what I'm saying, they're a-holes on Twitter.
Yeah.
But they're cool guys on YouTube, and a lot of them want me to come on their show.
Yeah, that's good.
They respect it. Eagle fans, they love Cowboy fans, man. They want me on their show a lot. You know what I'm saying? Even though I troll them so much, they love the interaction. You know what I'm saying? So I try not, some of them, they be crazy on Twitter, but most of them, they just like to, you know what I'm saying, kid with you, fight with you, bring up. They want to be our rivals.
Yes.
So bad. You know what I'm saying? So, I go ahead and I join in from time to time. It'd be funny because I just sit back, I won't comment, and I'll just watch what they say. And then whenever they come on that show, like it'd be different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like you were saying, you know what I'm saying, you were glorifying Dak Prescott, but when we on Twitter, you talking trash about him. You know what I'm saying? So, it'd be funny, man. I try to take with a grain of salt with some of them, but it's all in all, it's great entertainment. It's great entertainment.
No.
It is. That's what it is in the long run, man. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. I've been messing with Philly fans a lot more now than I have been, just because it's the off season, man, and they give me something fun to do. And like Cole said, man, you could work them guys up with the most simplest tweet. Like seriously, you got the most simplest tweet that you can make about the Cowboys. And not even mentioning Philly fans. Like if I just said something about Dak haters, like I said the other day, I said Dak haters, and this guy's like, y'all always tweeting about Philly. I said, where the fuck? Not one time did it say nothing about Philadelphia. I said Dak haters. That's all I said. Dak haters. So I mean, I don't know, man. Philly fans they're funny. I like getting them worked up, and it's funny because when they're like, I've never been on a Philly content creators, on their podcast or anything like that. Honestly, I don't know if they would want me to come on one of their podcasts, but I've never been on one personally. I don't really go on to a lot of their stuff. Most of the time, if I comment on somebody's stuff on Twitter, it's because I've seen somebody from Cowboys Twitter like retweeted it, and it's usually got to be something that's just really outlandish. Because the most part, I stay in my lane. I'm not really going over to their side doing that. I let them come to me, and then I'm like McDonald's. I go ahead and serve them up, right? But like they just make me laugh though, man. And they always talking about how they get us triggered and we mad, and I'm just over here on the end of the keyboard just laughing, man. Like I'm not mad at all, man. Not at all, man.
What I do mostly is marketing. It's great marketing to amp up the enemy. Because next thing you know it, they get mad, and guess what? They want to follow you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, they want to follow you. So you know what I'm saying? It just builds up, my brand as well. And, I just go with the flow. Like yesterday, I tweeted one thing. I just said Philadelphia Eagles been in the league since 1933, and they only have one Lombardi Trophy that they won in 2017.
Yeah,
you see, and they was pissed about it.
They want you to count those 1933 those titles. They got like 18 in there. That's got to count for something.
Yes, they want to flip it. They want to flip it to saying. They'll retweet what I said and said, this guy is so stupid. He must not know that the Super Bowl era didn't start till 1967. Yeah. But my tweet didn't say that. All I said is y'all been around since 1933, and y'all only have one Lombardi trophy.
That's
So
a
why are
fact.
y'all talking about us? That's facts. Right there, you know what I'm saying? Then they want to bring up, well, we did have those championship games. You know what I'm saying? Back in the 40s. I'm like, hold up. Y'all just said that we celebrate old rings. Now
Yeah.
y'all want to bring up y'all's now?
I know.
We're doing so. It's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
It's all fun because I like to catch them in they little tracks, but.
Yeah. The funny thing is I've been, like I said, I've been to probably 5 or 6 Eagles games,
Yeah.
and always have a great time. The fans are always I'll sit at Texas Live at the table, and I sat with all Eagle fans, and me and my buddy's a Cowboys fan, and we had great conversation, talking, da da da. I've never had any issues, anything with an Eagles. It's always respectful. It's always fun. It's, hey man, we love your videos, man. It's funny, da da da. You know, whatever. But we're gonna shut you up. It's just good, clean.
Yeah.
You know, having fun trash talk, which I love. I love trash talking in a good way, and it's just so funny when they're in the different element and they're not behind the keyboards. And it's funny because most Philly people who tweet have like a different. They don't have their face. They don't show their face. They've got like image of a player or some cartoon or something like that. So it's just always interesting to me on social media, especially Twitter. Twitter and TikTok are probably the two that I get. You know, I get attacked.
Yeah.
TikTok
yeah, TikTok is toxic. I go on there live every once in a while to talk Cowboys, man. I'll go on there and I'm telling you, man, they just start coming out the woodwork, and they start talking about all kinds of shit, man. They're making fun of my appearance and shit. I'm like, man, you guys gonna give me some insecurities. Last time I was on there, I had to tell them, look, guys, I was raised up in the 90s, so sticks and stones may break my bones, but your words don't hurt me. Keep on talking, you're just wasting your I said, you giving me the interaction, so go on, keep it coming, baby.
That's
you
all I ask for, man. One
bring
person
that track over here.
This is how like my man in the chat is ultra. I mean, you're gonna use Tito Trinidad. If I'm gonna use a boxer's name, I'm probably gonna use someone better than Tito Trinidad was. So I don't know the deal with that. I might think of someone a little bit better than that. So, but that's the mentality. You get another loser. You just keep picking losers. You can't help yourself.
He ain't doing them but building up the algorithm, you know.
I
like it.
It's all good. You know, the funniest thing, man, that I had today, man, was I had a guy and he was talking about he was a Philly fan. He was bringing up the world championships, right?
Yeah.
You know, and it's always funny because they don't want us to talk about our history, but they'll bring their history in to try to. But even when they do bring it in, 5's still greater than 4, even if I'm counting them, right? So you're really not doing anything with it. But some guy told me, he said enjoy watching your Super Bowls on VHS tape. And I said, well, enjoy watching your world champions that they got to chisel out on a stone fucking tablet to get highlights of that shit.
They don't even cherish that Super Bowl. They hype up the last year more than they did do 2017, and they lost.
Yeah. Tito got his ass knocked out, my friend. I don't play about but anyway, those guys are funny. But little do they know, I have all my Super Bowls on DVD because I burned them, and then I even took it a step further. I got them on digital, so I took it to the next generation. So all my stuff is good. But I can tell you this: it takes me all day to watch those Super Bowls. They can do that shit at lunchtime. So,
yeah, you know, and I will always stand by, and I'll say it anytime I get in the argument with a Philly fan, because they always first of all, they always compliment me because they always think that I look a lot younger than I do. They say, you ain't old. Did you ever see the Cowboys win a Super Bowl? I won 3 Super Bowls. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, you was probably a preteen when they won. I said, well, I was a teenager when they won them Super Bowls. I said, but let me tell you what, I've seen and I remember 3 of them, and they will live with me for a lifetime. I said, and watching and seeing them win 3 is more than most NFL fans will ever see in a lifetime. And some will go their entire lives without ever seeing a Super Bowl win. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You've got some fans that have never even seen their team play in a Super Bowl. So, I mean, the fact that I seen 3, I mean, I don't get me wrong. Do I want to see a fourth? Do I want us to get that sixth Super Bowl? Hell yeah, I do, man. But I mean, at least I've seen my team win more, not just one, not just two, but three of them. And we got 5 in the book. So I'll let them Philly fans keep on flexing them participation trophies as much as they want.
Oh, they'll get it. And I don't want to bring up my man Rocky Marciano. He's talking about, I don't know. Now he's going to get racial and say there's no good white boxers. But hey, I can go back to Rocky Marciano, the Paisan. I can at least bring him up. Maybe the Klitschko brothers who held the title, the heavyweight title for like 20 years. But I don't get into race on the trick because my favorite boxers were Marvin Hagler, Larry Holmes, obviously Mike Tyson. So those are my guys. But Rocky Marciano, as they did say in A Living Color, he did whoop Joe Louis's ass.
Yep.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know if he was 60 years old when it happened, but it did happen. So no, but anyway, I love having fun with them. It's just easy money. It's easy with Philly. It's like I always say when we play them in AT&T, and you can look at the history and it shows it. They're like what we call the homecoming opponent. That's what I always call them. And they don't like when you're in high school, you got the shitty team that you guys played that you beat up, so you got the floats and all that stuff. That's what they are to us when we play. We drop 40 on them like every year, maybe 50, whatever we feel like doing. So it's always fun to see Dallas and Philly play. It makes it easy money.
And this year, hey, they better hope Dak stay healthy, because if he is, I got us sweeping them. Like we'll beat them in Philly. I got that.
Yeah, well, that's a big thing, because I'm one of those guys where I respect the players. Like I like Hurts, I like them in college, but see, this is where I'm going to make the mistake, Coles. You see, I'm going down that path.
Man, they
get real mad when I say that. They get real mad when I say we're gonna sweep them. I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't rule it out.
Well, the thing about the thing what they keep talking about, man, is I just like if I was an Eagles fan, but thank the good Lord that I ain't an Eagles fan. Thank you every day. But if I was an Eagles fan, like, you can't tell me that you ain't worried about the fact that you rolling in a new offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator. So like I'm just saying, man, like switching coordinators don't always work out. You can't just, and not only that, you're coming off a Super Bowl loss, and the Super Bowl hangover is a real thing. Now, obviously, the Cincinnati Bengals bounced back, had a good season after going to the Super Bowl and losing, but you've got the Super Bowl hangover. You lost your offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and again, 5 defensive starters that they lost off that team. 5 defensive starters. And they're like, well, yeah, but, other than Hargrave, wasn't really any big impact play. Don't give me that shit, man. They were starters.
When they had them.
Yeah, you weren't talking like that when you had them. They were all starters on your squad. So you talking about bringing in some young guys that are going to replace them, because they're pretty much looking at rookies across the board to replace most of these dudes. So you're telling me that they're all going to come in and step in right away, and you guys ain't going to skip a beat because your defense wasn't really that good last year. Yeah. I mean, they choked off a 10-point. Well, they were one of only 2 teams that have choked away a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter: Atlanta Falcons and Philadelphia Eagles. So you're telling me your defense got better? Nah, I ain't buying that shit. That shit.
No, we're gonna figure it out. Look at it. Getting him so hyped up, his camera went away.
Hey, he got the double C on there though. He got the Cowboys Coles. I like that. But hey, man, I love this stuff, man. This is where it's fun, because you're just mixing it up, and it's definitely a good time. But I know we're getting past the clock and everything. Everyone's got things to do. But Coles, man, I really, both of us really appreciate you jumping on with us, man. We gotta definitely do it again.
More, man. Hey, I appreciate y'all having me on, man, for real.
It was a pleasure, man. Good to actually see you, face to face and not just on Twitter.
Yeah, man, because we be tripping out on Twitter, man.
That's all part of the fun and games.
Yeah, you guys make it good. So, hey, tell everyone one more time, if they don't know already, which they better, how can they find you?
Oh, yeah, you can find me Coles Cowboys on both YouTube and Twitter.
Awesome, man.
I appreciate it.
No, good, man. We're going to do it again. I really appreciate it, man. You take care, man. Loved it.
All right, y'all too, man.
All right,
Coles, stay up.
Take care. So no, man, that was awesome. This is all. Hey, he's a good dude, man. Love having Cowboy fans on. And I said, this is where you earn your money. These are some tough days to have shows, and we've had 2 kick-ass shows the last 2 days. And Monday was no slouch either.
We went back to back, man. We went back to back with these shows. You know, we got some good interaction. We got some good interaction in the chat. I think that Ultra was a little salty that we discovered so quickly that Tito Trinidad was actually Ultra. He got a little angry about that they figured it out. But you can't come in here and be that obvious about it, man. I mean, at least kind of like slow play it a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, he came right in with the Cowboys hate. I'm like, wait a second. Man, I said, this dude's saying a lot of the same shit Ultra's saying. He's like, I'm not Ultra.
And the thing is all kidding aside, I like Ultra. I do. I don't mind. I mean, I know like it's his shtick. And he's the negativity's there.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I just have this thing is when we have a guest on, you're not going to disrespect the guest. When we had a Redskin guest on, when we had a Steelers guest on, you're going to treat them with respect. If you don't agree with what they're saying, just don't say none at all.
Right.
But I had to mute them just because of that, just because I just didn't think it was the right thing. And the thing that I wanted to say too, and I know, you know, we could bounce, but the Eugene Lockhart, I mean, if you guys didn't see it, one, you missed a hell of an interview and a hell of a good time with Kelly and I, with Eugene. But, you know, a lot of times people, especially the younger generation, just think that these guys made millions and millions of dollars. I mean, I look back and I said, hey, let me just check. And I mean, he was making about $100,000, you know, a year. Remember, he was a 6th-round draft pick. I mean, they weren't making nothing. And Cowboys, they were a little stingy, stingy with the money. And those guys didn't have a lot of options. That's why in '87 they fought so much for free agency, which is what these guys have today, which is giving them all that money. So when I hear that they say they got, you know, they just think that they got the money that these guys got with 200 guarantees. A lot of these guys didn't, man. And you're out of football and you've done it your whole life, and you're kind of thrown out in the early 30s. You know, some guys, the health is the problem. It's not, hey man, he's earned a living and he's been doing fine. It's the health issues. And I don't know any of you guys that, you know, hopefully you've never had any major health issues and health costs, but it adds up, and you don't have insurance, man. That's just, you know, that could destroy you.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And I mean, I looked up some of the stuff that you know, he talked about. He did in fact take Jerry Jones to court and did sue him for some unpaid money. You know, it didn't go into great detail, so I don't know if the whole, you know, if the check actually bounced. I don't know if that really actually was a true thing or whatever. I'm going to take his word for it. You know what I mean? I don't know any reason why he'd have to make that up. But you know, everybody has their own life experiences, man. And it's like I said last night when we were talking about it. I have no idea how that man was treated. I know obviously he's not treated very well within the Cowboys organization right now, because he made a good point, man. The dude set the all-season record for most tackles in a single season, 222. In my opinion, that's good enough to get a guy up in the Ring of Honor. In my opinion, I mean, a guy that's holding a record for your franchise. I mean, you know, you got Emmitt Smith up there. You've got, you know, I get it. Eugene Lockhart was not a Hall of Fame player, but I mean, that's, I mean, if not the Ring of Honor, at least something to commemorate that record.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I didn't know that. I didn't know that until, you know, I knew who Eugene Lockhart was. I knew he was a great middle linebacker. I did not know he held the record at 222 tackles, and that's impressive.
Well, so. and just to, you know, and again, I don't, you know, Ring of Honor. I think that's exclusive. I think he had a solid career with Dallas. I think he should be recognized. 222 tackles. The crazy thing is almost like with Deacon Jones and some of these guys in the 70s. They did not consider tackles an official stat until the 90s, till the mid 90s.
Yeah.
So though it's documented and it's all over, he's at 222. They don't count that in the archives as a NFL record because because I mean, you could go back to Deacon Jones and he's arguably the all-time, you know, the sack guy or the single season sack guy if you went through all the stats and whatever else. So a lot of those guys in the 70s and the 80s, and you could throw in the 60s, some of their numbers, you know, the NFL just didn't keep them. They didn't make them an official stat. So that's kind of where he's screwed. So yeah, maybe not the Ring of Honor. You know, obviously he didn't make the Hall of Fame, but he was a hell of a player. He was the 4th linebacker in Cowboys history. He was the first rookie to start, all rookie team, all pro. He was, even as a kid, I mean, I knew who Eugene Lockhart was. I mean, he was the face, you know, the captain of that defense. Of course, you had Randy White and had Too Tall Jones and the rest of the boys. And I just think of how can the Cowboys pay respect to a lot of these guys. And you do the rally days, and they used to do it. I don't think they do it much anymore, but they would bring the legends out. They bring these guys
Yeah.
out and they'd sign autographs and take pictures. And I mean, how cool would it be? And you saw how Eugene was with us. That I mean, you get to sit there and talk to him for a couple minutes and take some pictures and get him to sign your card or helmet or whatever you want. I mean, that's for kids or even for us who grew up, in that era. It's like being a kid again. And
Right.
what does that cost? What does it cost Jerry Jones? What, $2,500, $5,000, whatever it is that you want to give him for his time for a day of services?
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't do that more for players. They do it a lot around here. I will say in
Yeah.
Florida, they do it a lot. I don't know why the Cowboys don't. And I think you said it with the players that maybe weren't Hall of Famers that were pre-Jerry. They seem to be the forgotten ones.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like, I mean, if you're a Cowboys fan, and if you're, as far as Jerry Jones, he's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, so he represents the franchise. I mean, he's the ultra representative of the franchise. So it is your duty. It's upon you to recognize the past and to make sure that the history of the past is not forgotten, that it's remembered fondly, because like I said, I mean, that, like I said yesterday, the foundation of what the Cowboys are now was built off these players, you know what I mean? And the names that they made for themselves, the plays they made on the field, what they did in the postseason, and that's just stuff that shouldn't be forgotten. It should be remembered. It should be recognized. It should be respected. And Jerry should absolutely, there shouldn't be any players on that team, man, that had impact like he did, that shouldn't be still involved with the franchise in one way or another. And it doesn't have to be whether they're working there with the team directly, but like you said, on the rally days there, or they have some, during the season, they bring them in for some type of recognition. They say, hey, we want to bring the team from 89. We're going to bring that whole team back. We're going to, that it was a 1-15 team, but there were some great players that were on this team. We want to recognize this team, kind of like a reunion type thing where they bring, it doesn't have to be 89, but one of the old school teams, they bring that team back and they recognize them for their accomplishments, for their, what they did, records that may have been achieved, whatever. You don't get a lot of that with the Cowboys. At least from what I've seen from the old school players and stuff. And that'd be nice for Jerry to do something like that. And like you said, it's not going to cost. In fact, for the most part, inviting some of these guys, it might not cost them nothing, man. Just to get them to a game, to recognize them for what they've done for the organization. Shit, that probably wouldn't cost them nothing. These guys would probably be thrilled to do it. They're like, because I feel like a lot of these old guys think that they've been forgotten, and that's just kind of sad. So.
No, and I've been to the rally days, and they have, and it's no disrespect, so don't take it the wrong way, Lincoln Coleman, but they got Lincoln Coleman there. I mean, he was like a guy who had a couple games in the early, again, Jerry Jones era, and I mean, what I'm talking about is getting, a Eugene Lockhart, Michael Downs. I mean, some of these guys that were, they're not on TV, they're not Everson Walls, they're not Nate Newton that's on there. They're guys that were really core to the franchise and were all pros and Pro Bowl guys, and getting them out there. And like you said, the craziest thing, and I'm not, hey man, I'm a realist. I know what we are. And I mean, we're just a couple fans. We're not ESPN. We're not NFL Network. We don't have any of this, but he's the first guy that's ever been on this show that after the show he called. And he just called me and could not thank me enough for having him on, and what a great time he had, and appreciated the time that you gave and I gave to him. And I mean, we're just a little podcast having fun, and the appreciation he had. Imagine him in front of fans. I mean, an ambassador, with the fans and Cowboys Nation, the love that he would have, and to see him be kind of, I don't want to say bitter, but just hurtful, because you can kind of see it. So I almost thought it was a little therapeutic in a way. To help him and to hear what he's going through. It's sad to me. And so I just don't know why, the appreciation he showed us as just some two fans on a little podcast. I mean, what would it mean for him to be in front of AT&T on the, in Miller Lite, interacting with fans and signing an autograph, taking pictures, or doing whatever he wants to do? I mean, how cool would that be for him and for the fans?
Oh yeah, man, and there's you saw the reaction on in the chat, you saw the reaction on Twitter. I mean, many people remember him. They remember him being the hitting machine, man, and yeah, it's absolutely. I think it would be a good thing for him and a good thing for the fans. And I don't know, man. I just feel like it would be nice if they did something more like that, man, where they did get a lot of these players involved. You go to Jerry World, man. That is one hell of an experience, but you want to talk about making that experience even better, man. You start bringing some of these guys in, man. Some of these, like you said, some of these guys that may not be Hall of Fame guys, but they were guys that were instrumental during, because we talked about, Lockhart had his season, had that great season amongst what was that, the 1-15. They went 1-15 that year. But
He's
I
the only
mean,
bright spot.
yeah, but I mean, he was out there flying around on that field, and he was giving it his all, man. And to me, that is what makes me proud to be a Dallas Cowboys fan, because I feel like he represented that star to the fullest of his capability. Because
Yeah.
that's what I look towards. I look towards somebody that has the dog in him. I look to somebody that doesn't have any quit in him. Somebody that has pride wearing the star. And it don't matter if we're 1-15 or 15-1, they're going to play lights out all 60 minutes. And I feel like he gave it his all every time he stepped on the field. And those are the kind of guys, man, that make a franchise into what this franchise is today.
Yeah.
And they deserve their flowers. And he absolutely deserves, he has a spot notched out there in Cowboys Nation and amongst the fans, and he deserves better than what he's been given. Absolutely. So do a lot of them, of them. So
And I think, sorry, my back's been a little hurting, so you saw the pillow. I'm trying to keep my back straight. But that's what the thing. Getting old, man. I did 2 games. I pulled the back out, so I got, I'm still recovering from that. But no, and that's the point I was trying to get across. I don't want to keep harping on people who are being negative. Is he's not? I don't think he's asking for Jerry to give him money. I don't think he's asking. He's asking for maybe some respect, maybe some dignity as a person who dedicated to the Cowboys just like that. You hear he talked about he's on early stages of dementia. You're talking about CTE. He brought up obviously stuff that went through with Marion Barber and things like that. And you've got these guys, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. I don't want to keep beating it, but it's something that I know Kelly. I think you enjoy, and I enjoy getting to talk to these guys and hearing their stories. And give them a platform and giving really the fans an opportunity to say, hey, thank you. And that's what I'm saying is, like, if you got nothing nice to say to a guy, just a guest, don't say nothing. You saw Ultra T/Tito. He came in here. He bashed me personally. He did all that. I never muted him. I never blocked him. I let him go ahead and say his piece, let it out. He also, I think he's under another name and on Twitter, and he called me a bunch of names on a Eugene Lockhart. Maybe it wasn't Ultra, so I don't want to say it was him, but called me some slurs and some things and whatever. Have at it. I mean,
yeah.
You ain't never gonna hurt me, because I'm telling you what, I'm not talking all this hype, but my life's pretty damn good. I got season tickets. I go to Cowboy games. My kids are taken care of. I got a nice house. I got a cabin in the mountains. I'm not going to say I'm rich or anything, but I busted my nuts to get where I'm at, to enjoy and be able to do this. So words that some dudes want to say against me personally, man, I don't give a shit. You ain't going to affect me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. Some people feel the need to tear down to build themselves up, man. And if that's that's what you need to do, and that's what you feel like you got to do, is hey, who am I to judge it, man? But I promise you, man, you're never gonna be fulfilled in life, man. If that's what you need to do, you're never gonna fulfill yourself. You're always gonna have that void, man. Because like you said, man, if you're happy, I'm happy, man. We're doing something that we love to do, man. I don't give a shit, man. I went out, not that long ago, I was on TikTok live, man, and I was talking to some people, and I was directing them towards the podcast, saying, hey, just got off this podcast, and some dude put a laughing emoji and goes, you got a podcast, what a joke. And I said, hey, man, you know what, you may think it's a joke. I said, but I've gotten to talk to I've gotten to talk to Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. I've talked to Super Bowl winning head coaches. I've got to talk to former ex players. I said that have given me stories that I never otherwise would have heard. I said, so you can call it whatever you want. It makes me happy. I'm not doing it for you, so I don't give a shit, man. You can mock it all you want. You can call it whatever you want. You can make whatever thing. But guess what? Next Thursday at 8:00. I'm gonna be back on this thing talking Dallas Cowboys football because I'm not doing it for you, man. I'm not doing it for you. This shit makes me happy. It's fulfilling for me. Hearing the stories from Lockhart, hearing the stories from Joe Thomas, hearing the stories from Campbell, all that shit. I love it, man. That shit fucking just I love it, man. And this is awesome to have this platform. We love it that I love it that we got the support that we do, the likes, the subscribes, and all that shit. Which, speaking of that, if you haven't done it, go like, subscribe right now, share it, retweet it, do what you do. But it's just a blessing, and and I love it, man. I don't ever let nobody tear me down or diminish what we do because I think what we do is something good.
Yeah. And I mean, you look at it, I don't want to name names because then it'll just start, I'm going to forget people and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but just all the people I've interacted with, friends I've made, obviously, the friendship that you and I have developed over the time. If it wasn't for a lot of this Cowboys and social media, I would never had this. So that's what's so cool. And everyone in the chat, love them all. We're going to have our tailgate party. Let's just start having some fun again. I want to be moaning and groaning, but we're going to have this tailgate party. It's going to be at the Jets game. We're going to pick the spot. Mark is the personal driver. He's a storage of all the stuff. The only thing I'd ask for you guys is we'll have some stuff, but don't be coming cheap. Don't be coming empty pockets. You all are welcome. We're going to have a good time. You're going to see the Cowboys Cave flag flying real high so you know where to find us. I don't know what lot it'll be in. We got to leave that up to Mark when we get there. Figure out we can get a spot. Maybe lot 10, maybe lot 4, maybe lot 13, whatever it ends up being. But we're going to have a good time, and that's what it's all about. And we're going to make this an annual event. So this is the first annual Cowboys Cave tailgate party. We got a chef. We got Fred Jones, the best chef on Twitter, probably the best chef in real life. So we're going to have a great time. And I'm telling you what, it's been something I always wanted to do, tailgate at a Cowboys game and have a nice little party. And we're going to do it.
Hell yeah, man. And it's you know what, there's a lot of great tailgates around, man. So I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna diminish any other tailgates because trust me, I know some people out there that are doing it big, great big things, got some cool shit going on. But you can hit them all. But you got to make sure you come by the Cowboys Cave and see me and my boy Mike over here. There's other Mark's gonna be out there, Shady's gonna be out there. I mean, you're gonna see all kinds of people out there that have been on Twitter, content creators that are out here doing great things. Gonna be stopping by, drink, and we're gonna celebrate as we send off Mr. Aaron Rodgers off into the sunset with not say any injuries, but maybe a few bumps, bruises, and scrapes, and maybe a bruised ego. You know what I mean? As we take him and the New York Jets behind the woodshed and whoop that ass.
Well, whoop that ass. We're gonna put him out the pasture. We're gonna end it because that's what it's all about, right? We got rid of Brady. Now we get rid of that Rodgers, and then it just everything sets itself up for the season beautifully. So we can't wait. So Cowboys Nation, we love you. We're having a good time. Maybe Eugene Lockhart. We got to talk to him. Maybe get him to make a special guest appearance. But, I'm not giving up my ticket. Kelly, I don't know if you want to give up yours. And if he starts to ask me, I end up giving it up. Thankfully, we don't have paper tickets, so he can't snatch it from me. I'd be intimidated. Give it over. He's going to take my phone. So we're going to have a good time. But, hey, guys, we appreciate it. We had a great time with Cole's Cowboy. Make sure you guys, follow him. He does great content as well as so many others. Cowboys content creators. It's a great family. So we appreciate the sport and you guys taking the time, spending an hour and a half sometimes with Kelly and I, and obviously Jimmy and I on Monday. We got a lot of stuff planned. We have those special Wednesday interviews, and I still have one in the works that's going to be in July, August. We got a special one in the works that'll be a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Hopefully he's a man of his word, but I know he is. He said, hey, he'll give me a holler in July, August. Just got to get through some other stuff, and I'll come in, and he's going to we're not going to do an in-depth interview with him, but he said he preview the Cowboys season with us and kind of give his opinions and takes. So we're going to do that. Anything else, Kelly? What I miss?
Man, I think that's it for me, man. Are you off next Thursday?
I am. I'm glad you said that. I'm on a work trip, so I think Kelly, you're gonna have maybe some a special co-host.
We got some. I think I have a co-host, or maybe even co-hosts, plural. Couple people, maybe. I might have two here to crash the Cowboys cave. I'm efforting that as we speak. I'll make sure I get on top of that. But one way or another, if the co-host, if that works, if it doesn't work, we're gonna be here next Thursday, 8:00. I'm gonna either bring some guests with me, or if not, and I got to run this thing solo. We'll run this thing solo because I got everybody in the chat here to help me keep this thing going, and I can talk Cowboys football by myself if I need to, and I'm sure that we'll be just fine. But yeah, hopefully we got a couple of guests for you guys next week. That'll be some knowledgeable, fun guests to have on here as well. So looking forward to that. But Cowboys Nation, I think that's it for us.
That's it, man. You guys have a good night, good weekend. Enjoy it. Hopefully the weather's good. The weather in Florida is going to be great. So we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Yes, sir.
The Eagles get ready, because you might not like it, but you will learn to love it, because we are the best thing going today. Now, can you dig it?